Good afternoon, everyone. It's what an introduction. Thank you. Very humbled. Thank you for inviting me along to speak, and thank you for being here, which might sound like an odd thing to start with, but you don't have to be here. As leaders, you don't have to want to do better and want to learn how to better serve your community. So we're already off to a cracking start. Thank you very much. I've got an idea this afternoon. The idea is that it's not where you are that needs to change, it's the opportunities to break down barriers to success that's the crucial idea. I'm the Chief Executive of a Greater Manchester charity called Youth Leads, a representative of Her Majesty the Queen as Deputy Lieutenant, a trustee of a number of charities and Social Mobility Commissioner in government. And it's social mobility, which is all about giving young people the best chance in life, no matter their background, that has defined me. I grew up on a council estate, being brought up by a single mum on benefits, and then I went into care when she became unwell. I was abused as a child, and that instability in the home meant that I was at risk of exclusion countless times and could have followed that very typical path of a young person in care, which is least likely to get a job and most likely to be involved in crime. So I know what it's like to grow up facing challenges and feeling angry and feeling that the world and everybody and everything in it was against me. That led me to always kind of resist authority. And so I ran away multiple times and I ended up sofa surfing in year 9. But how have I got to where I am? Because that life is very different to the life that I now lead as at 23. It was my birthday in July. So when this was booked in, I was still 22. As a 23-year-old Chief Executive and Royal Representative and Commissioner of Social Mobility. And for me, I think I've dug deep enough to find out what it is that changed me. And I think there's 3 things, and I might add a 4th as we carry on, but the 3 things for me are people, opportunity, and passion. And we'll start with the easiest, passion. I'm quite passionate once I've got my mind on something. There isn't much that anybody can do to persuade me otherwise, but that passion is also where I fell down, because if a teacher had pissed me off, I would key their car at the end of the day. But when it came to the positive things, I never actually believed that I could go and actually deliver what I thought I wanted to do. And that's where I think opportunity comes in. So I went to a state school in Bolton where double the national average of students are on free school meals. So you've got an idea, it's in quite a challenging area, and that school gave me opportunities. They gave me responsibilities, as they usually do. When you're a bit naughty, you get given a prefect badge, think, yes, I'm meant for more. They gave me responsibilities to help out with the school magazine. They put me on programmes with the Prince's Trust. And even though I was that person who was sofa surfing in year 9, I still went to school pretending that everything was fine. Because school was the constant. And we mustn't lose sight of that. School was the only stable thing that I had, knowing that it was there every day, no matter what. I didn't care for grades or what I did there, just knowing it was there and that people were there was enough for me. But I realised that that wasn't sustainable, and that instability was affecting my behaviour, and I was pulled into a permanent exclusion hearing with the governors of the school. So I was that kind of the back-chatting brat, but the equally inquisitive kind of kid. And I remember the slapdowns to my ambition, and something I want to kind of plant with you. We all had, or knew, or know, certainly in your roles, a teacher who's pessimistic about absolutely everything. That still exists. You'll not go far, you'll be at Asda. And I remember the point that could have thrown me off for good. It's sad that that still exists, but it does. I was in year 11, helping out with the school magazine. A teacher pulled me out of a science lesson and said, Saeed, you're not doing a school magazine anymore. GCSE time, you've got to focus on your grades, you've got to get them grades so you can get to college. But for me, it wasn't about grades. It was that opportunity of leading that school magazine, the feeling that I actually had a purpose that was keeping me in school in the first place. I needed something to focus on, and I needed purpose. So after that conversation, in my typical I'm not standing for that kind of attitude, I wanted to prove the school and the teacher wrong. And at the same time, in 2011, the media was very, very against young people, even more than it is now, describing young people as feral animals. That was a headline, and surprise, surprise, that was in the Daily Mail. Scum and yobs, all real headlines describing young people. And I knew then that the conversation needed to change as I was in the shop buying my junk food with the £3 that I had for my lunch money with my carers that didn't know I was on free school meals. So I actually got £3 every day, which was great. That was the 35p energy drink and a packet of crisps. But I was fed up of having decisions made for me. I'm seeing these headlines and I wanted to do something about it. So I set up Explode magazine when I was 15 in year 11. Today that magazine is part of a larger charity, Youth Leads, that works across Greater Manchester supporting thousands of young people into employment and publishing positive stories about our generation. And for that one bad person, there's been hundreds of good people, and that's where the people element comes in. When I had the idea to set up Explode, I needed funds. So I had a phone, can't remember where I'd nicked it from, but I had a phone, and it was on O2. So I thought, right, I'm going to write to the chief exec of O2. So I did that. Here's my idea. You're a youth brand. Do you want to back it? That same teacher had pulled me out of another lesson. I thought, oh, what's she taking from me now? And she said, there's a really important phone call. I thought it was a social worker or something like that, but actually it was the chief executive of O2. Ronan Dunn was the chief executive at the time, and he called me and we discussed it, and he gave us the cash to get started. He gave us £300. I thought, right, I know what I'm going to do with that. And it wasn't anything to do with the magazine. But my friends talked me into saying, no, you've got to stick to this. So we did. We set up the first bit. We spent £300 on a laptop and some training materials. And I went back to him and said, right, I've spent up, but we've got a clear plan. We know where we want to be in 3 years. And he said, right, well, that ambition, I want you to double it. I said, well, we need some extra cash. And he said, right, well, here's £2,500, and here's my head of HR to mentor you. So I started to surround myself with the right people, and some people might say that is luck, but I don't believe in luck just being a thing. I believe that we all create our own luck. And I started to surround myself with the right people, take part in the right opportunities, and things kind of just moved on a bit. And I was able to, carry on delivering the magazine. We were getting more and more people getting involved with the organisation, and we ended up supporting thousands of young people. And for as much as upward social mobility is positive, it does come with its negatives, and this is something that we've got to really think about, because I don't think there's enough thought gone into this, about the imposter syndrome of young working class kids who end up doing well, feeling like they don't fit in. And nobody really thinks about the stress associated with moving up whatever chain you're moving up. You doubt why you're in certain rooms, you question your credibility, and you feel like an imposter. And when I'm in 10 Downing Street, I mean, even now with Boris Johnson in there, I feel like I'm an imposter. So we've got to do something about that. And I remind myself that what I've achieved is extraordinary. When I'm in these oak-panelled rooms with ministers and dames and sirs, or when I'm acting as the Queen's representative, as bizarrely the most important person in the room sometimes, I still question that. And I remind myself, no, Saeed, you are meant to be there. If you weren't meant to be there, you simply wouldn't be there. So we've got to do more to remind our young people that they are meant to achieve excellence. I also applied, admittedly a long shot, about 18 months ago, to become Government Social Mobility Commissioner, because I didn't want to see another government body not representative of the people that it is there to serve. And I think resilience is the fourth thing that I want to add to people, opportunity, passion. Resilience. Because resilience for me and the young people that I work with, thousands of across Greater Manchester, it means trying to understand how the world looks to those who've experienced it differently. We've all got our own stories, but we can write new ones together. And that means seeing the values in each other's points of view and looking for common ground. And we all, every single one of us in this room, build resilience. It is part of our DNA, it's part of the DNA and the job descriptions that we have. We build it into the people that we love, that we serve, and we build it together as a community. And it is a powerful force, and considering what is going on in the world, something that the world and our country needs a lot more of right now. So I went from that young person at risk of exclusion to now being the school governor at Ladybridge, my old school, who's often on the exclusion panels, chairing them to make sure that we're making the right decisions and not just casting kids off. I went from that teen tearaway to my proudest moment as I became the youngest recipient of an MBE, which I have wearing today, in Her Majesty the Queen's New Year's Honours List. And I thought that was, you know, I'm still trying to take it in. And then I get a phone call and a letter to say we want to appoint you the Queen's representative. So I'm still trying to take that in. That only happened in July. But the most important thing is, going from that young person in care to now influencing change in the corridors of power, is that it's taught me that we are not born with a certain amount of resilience. It's a muscle that needs building and something that we can all build together. So what do today's young people need? And to annoy the English language specialists in the room, I'm not going to use the rule of 3, I'm going to use the rule of 4. I truly believe that today's young people need passion, need opportunity, need people, and resilience. And you have the power, and I would go above and beyond that. You all have, and I do too, the power and the duty to deliver on all of these 4 things. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave you with that to think about.